He's not allowed to use it on me.
Isn't he? Who else can he use it on then?
Do you know what? I've just broken it.
No change. Sold.
So I can fit this on your stitch.
For fans of the British television program Salvage Hunters, few departures have been as mysterious as that of John T. Known affectionately as simply T to viewers around the world, this beloved cast member seemed to vanish from the show without explanation, leaving millions of dedicated fans wondering what had happened to the man who had become such an integral part of their viewing experience. The speculation ran wild. Had there been a falling out with host Drew Pritchard? Did something tragic occur behind the scenes? Join us as we uncover what really happened to John T. from Salvage Hunters. The rise of a beloved television personality. John T. first appeared on Quest's Salvage Hunters during the show's 8th season in 2016, though he had actually made brief cameo appearances in earlier seasons during 2013 and 2014. The show itself had been on the air since 2011, following antique dealer Drew Pritchard as he traveled across the United Kingdom, searching for valuable and interesting items that could be restored and resold for profit. The format was simple but compelling. Drew would visit various locations, from grand estates to cluttered barns, haggling over prices and using his expert eye to spot diamonds in the rough that others might overlook. It was the kind of program that appealed to anyone who had ever wondered about the stories behind old objects, or dreamed of finding treasure hiding in plain sight. When T joined as a regular cast member, he brought something unique to the dynamic. He wasn't there to challenge Drew's expertise or compete for screen time. Instead, he served as the driver and helper, loading the purchased items into their van and transporting them back to Drew's antique shop in Conwy, North Wales. But his role extended far beyond simple logistics. T was Drew's best friend, and that genuine friendship translated through the screen in a way that resonated deeply with audiences. Their banter felt authentic rather than scripted. When they joked with each other during long drives or discussed the items they had just purchased, viewers felt like they were watching real friends enjoying each other's company, rather than television personalities playing roles. The chemistry between Drew and T quickly made Season 8 one of the most popular in the show's history. Fans loved watching the two friends work together, with Drew's enthusiasm for antiques balanced by T's more grounded and practical approach. Where Drew might get excited about an obscure piece of railwayana or a quirky architectural salvage item, T would be the one asking the practical questions about how they were going to fit it in the van, or whether it was really worth the price Drew was paying. This dynamic created a natural comedy that never felt forced, making the show accessible to viewers who might not have deep knowledge of antiques but could relate to the friendship and the adventure of the hunt. Throughout Season 8, which consisted of 10 episodes featuring T, viewers watched the duo travel to fascinating locations across the UK. They visited railway stock lists in Gloucestershire, explored grand estates, and dug through warehouses filled with decades of accumulated items. In one memorable episode, they purchased a vintage card table that required careful negotiation and even more careful loading into their vehicle. T's role in these transactions was crucial. While Drew focused on examining items and negotiating prices, T handled the physical work of securing purchases and ensuring they arrived safely back at the shop. His presence allowed Drew to focus on what he did best, while knowing that the practical aspects of the business were being handled by someone he trusted completely. But beyond the practical contributions, what really made T special to fans was his personality. He had a quiet charm and a self-deprecating sense of humor that made him incredibly likable. He never tried to steal the spotlight or make himself the center of attention. Instead, he was content to be the supporting player, offering witty commentary when appropriate and providing a sounding board for Drew's enthusiasm. This humility made him relatable to everyday viewers who saw themselves in T rather than in the expert dealer at the center of the show. He was the friend you'd want on a road trip, the reliable person who made everything run smoothly without needing constant recognition for their efforts. What fans didn't know during those popular episodes was that T was already dealing with serious health issues that would eventually force him to make difficult decisions about his future with the show. The physical demands of the job, combined with an unhealthy lifestyle that had developed over years of irregular schedules and poor dietary choices, were taking a significant toll on his body. The warning signs were there, but like many people caught up in the demands of a successful career, T initially ignored them. That decision would soon catch up with him in ways that would change everything. What happened to him? The health crisis that changed everything. Behind the scenes of those cheerful episodes and entertaining antique hunts, John T was fighting a battle that viewers couldn't see. For years, he had been living an unhealthy lifestyle characterized by poor eating habits, excessive alcohol consumption, and a lack of regular exercise. The demands of television production, with its irregular hours and constant travel, made it difficult to maintain healthy routines. Over time, these small choices compound into serious health problems. T's weight had been gradually increasing, but the issue went deeper than just carrying extra pounds. He was eventually diagnosed with a thyroid condition, a serious medical issue that affects the body's entire immune system and metabolism. The thyroid gland, located in the neck, produces hormones that regulate numerous bodily functions, including metabolism, heart rate, and body temperature. When the thyroid doesn't function properly, it can cause a cascade of health problems ranging from weight gain and fatigue to more serious complications. In T's case, the thyroid condition was exacerbating his weight issues and creating a dangerous cycle where the excess weight put additional strain on his already compromised system. Doctors warned T in no uncertain terms that he needed to make immediate and significant changes to his lifestyle. The thyroid condition, if left unmanaged and combined with his obesity, could lead to even more serious health complications, including heart disease, diabetes, and potentially cancer. This wasn't about vanity or wanting to look better on television. This was a matter of survival. T was facing a choice between continuing with his current lifestyle and career demands or prioritizing his health, even if that meant stepping away from a show that had brought him recognition and success. The wake-up call came when T's doctors confirmed that he had developed numerous nutritional deficiencies due to his improper diet and unhealthy eating habits. His body was literally breaking down from the inside due to years of neglect. The excessive alcohol consumption had damaged his liver function. The processed foods and lack of nutrients had weakened his immune system. The sedentary lifestyle, despite the occasional physical demands of loading antiques, had left him with poor cardiovascular health. Add the thyroid condition to this mix, and T was looking at a potentially dire medical situation if he didn't take immediate action. What made the situation even more complicated was the mental and emotional toll these health problems were taking. Dealing with obesity and chronic health conditions often leads to depression and anxiety, creating a vicious cycle where poor health leads to poor mental health, which in turn makes it even harder to make the lifestyle changes necessary for improvement. T found himself caught in this cycle, struggling not just with the physical symptoms, but with the psychological burden of knowing he had let his health deteriorate to such a dangerous point. The decision to prioritize his health over his television career couldn't have been easy. Salvage Hunters had given T a platform and recognition that few people ever achieve. He had become a beloved figure to viewers around the world, someone who received fan mail and was recognized when he went out in public. Walking away from that, even temporarily, required tremendous courage and self-awareness. But T realized that no amount of fame or success would matter if he didn't survive to enjoy it. His health had to come first, even if that meant disappointing fans and stepping away from a show that had become a significant part of his identity. What were his first steps in prioritizing his health? The weight loss journey and transformation. Once John T. decided to prioritize his health, he approached his weight loss and recovery with the same quiet determination that had made him such an effective partner to Drew Pritchard on Salvage Hunters. This wasn't going to be a quick fix or a trendy diet that promised overnight results. T understood, with guidance from his medical team, that he needed to make fundamental and lasting changes to his lifestyle if he wanted to overcome his thyroid condition and achieve sustainable weight loss. The first major change was addressing his alcohol consumption. T had been a regular drinker, and alcohol contributed significantly to his calorie intake while providing no nutritional value. Alcoholic beverages are high in empty calories, and excessive consumption also impacts the liver's ability to metabolize fat effectively. T made the difficult decision to dramatically reduce his alcohol intake, essentially cutting it out of his daily routine. For someone who had used alcohol as a way to unwind after long filming days or celebrate successful antique finds, this represented a significant lifestyle adjustment. Next came the dietary changes. Rather than following some extreme or restrictive diet plan that would be difficult to maintain long-term, T adopted a more balanced and sustainable approach. He began paying attention to what he was eating rather than simply consuming whatever was convenient. This meant reducing processed foods, increasing his intake of fresh fruits and vegetables, and being mindful of portion sizes. One simple but effective technique he employed was drinking water before meals. This strategy helped him feel fuller, which naturally reduced the amount of food he consumed during each meal without requiring strict calorie counting or feeling constantly deprived. The dietary changes weren't about perfection or never enjoying food again. They were about making better choices more consistently. T incorporated foods that would support his weight loss goals while also addressing his nutritional deficiencies. High-fiber foods like oatmeal, black beans, and almonds became staples in his diet because they provided satiety and helped regulate his digestion. These weren't exotic or expensive ingredients that would be difficult to maintain long-term. They were accessible, affordable foods that could easily be incorporated into a sustainable eating plan. Physical activity was the other crucial component of T's transformation. His doctors recommended starting with low-impact exercises that wouldn't put excessive strain on his joints while he was still carrying significant extra weight. Swimming became one of his primary forms of exercise because it provided a full-body workout while the water supported his weight and reduced stress on his joints. He also began regular walking and eventually progressed to jogging as his fitness improved and his weight decreased. These weren't grueling marathon training sessions. They were consistent, moderate exercises that he could maintain as part of his daily routine. T also worked with a professional trainer who developed a customized exercise regimen tailored to his specific needs and limitations. The trainer understood that T was dealing with a thyroid condition and needed to build up his fitness gradually rather than jumping into intense workouts that could lead to injury or burnout. The exercise program focused on building strength, improving cardiovascular health, and forming sustainable habits rather than achieving rapid, unsustainable results. Throughout this entire process, T remained committed to taking his prescribed medications for his thyroid condition. Managing a thyroid disorder requires medical treatment, and no amount of diet and exercise alone can fully address a hormonal imbalance. The combination of proper medical treatment, dietary changes, regular exercise, and reduced alcohol consumption created a comprehensive approach that addressed all aspects of his health, rather than focusing on just one element. The results of T's dedication were remarkable. Over time, He lost significant weight, bringing his body weight to a much healthier level. But more importantly, his thyroid condition came under control. His energy levels improved dramatically. His mental health, which had suffered during the worst of his health crisis, rebounded as he regained a sense of control over his life and his body. Fans who saw him in later appearances on the show noticed the transformation immediately. The man who appeared on screen looked healthier, more energetic, and more confident than he had in earlier episodes. Then suddenly, he disappeared from the show, sparking questions about his whereabouts. Where had T gone? Why wasn't he on the show anymore? Had something gone wrong between him and Drew? The mysterious departure from Salvage Hunters. Despite his successful health transformation, John T's relationship with Salvage Hunters became increasingly complicated. After appearing regularly throughout Season 8 in 2016, T was notably absent from subsequent seasons. The show continued without him, with Drew Pritchard working with other assistants and drivers who helped with the practical aspects of transporting antiques. For fans who had grown to love the Drew and T dynamic, this absence was confusing and concerning. What made the departure even more mysterious was the complete lack of official explanation. Neither John T nor the production company behind Salvage Hunters released any statement explaining why he was no longer appearing on the show. There was no farewell episode where T said goodbye to fans. There was no announcement thanking him for his contributions and wishing him well in future endeavors. He simply stopped appearing, leaving viewers to speculate about what had happened behind the scenes. The speculation ran in multiple directions. Some fans wondered whether T and Drew had fallen out, making it impossible for them to continue working together. The two had seemed like genuine friends on screen, but viewers understood that television can create illusions, and that personal relationships can deteriorate when cameras aren't rolling. Others speculated that it might have been a contract dispute, with T perhaps wanting more money or better terms than the production company was willing to offer. Still, others wondered if T's health issues had made it impossible for him to continue with the physical demands of the job, even after his successful weight loss. The truth appears to be more nuanced than any single explanation. According to multiple sources close to the production, T was never intended to be a permanent cast member, unlike Drew Pritchard. The original plan was for T to appear as a guest during Season 8, providing a different dynamic and fresh energy to the show. His appearances were so popular with viewers that he ended up in all 10 episodes of that season, but his contract was apparently always structured as a guest appearance, rather than a permanent position. This would explain why there was no formal announcement about his departure. If T was always scheduled to appear for a limited run rather than as a permanent fixture, then his absence from subsequent seasons wouldn't require explanation in the same way that a main cast member leaving would. From the production company's perspective, Season 8 with T might have been viewed as a successful experiment that ran its course, after which they returned to the show's original format, with Drew as the primary focus. However, this explanation doesn't fully account for why T didn't continue appearing even occasionally as a guest, or why he made only one brief appearance in Season 14 in 2020 before disappearing again. If his Season 8 appearances were so popular and well-received by fans, why not bring him back more regularly, even in a limited capacity? The answer likely involves a combination of factors, including T's own priorities, the demands of his health recovery, and production decisions about the direction of the show. He chose a much more private path, one that prioritized his personal well-being over public recognition. This decision speaks to T's character and his understanding of what truly mattered in his life. He had achieved fame through the show, but he wasn't willing to sacrifice his health or privacy to maintain it. The one notable exception to his absence was a single episode appearance during Season 14 in 2020. In this episode, T reunited with Drew to visit a Railway Anna stock list in Gloucestershire, where they purchased a vintage card table. For fans who had missed seeing the two friends work together, this episode was a welcome reminder of what had made their partnership so special. But it also seemed to confirm that T's involvement with the show would be occasional at best, appearing when it made sense for him personally rather than as a regular commitment. Perhaps the most frustrating aspect of John T's story for fans is how little is known about his current life. As of 2023 and into 2024, T has maintained an almost complete absence from social media and public life. He doesn't have active accounts on Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook where fans might follow his activities. He hasn't given interviews to media outlets explaining his departure from Salvage Hunters or discussing his current endeavors. He has essentially chosen to live his life outside of the public spotlight that television briefly brought him. This level of privacy is increasingly rare in an age where most people, especially those who have had any taste of fame, maintain some kind of public presence online. The fact that T has deliberately chosen not to engage with social media or cultivate a public following suggests a man who values his privacy and personal life over the validation and attention that comes with public recognition. It's a choice that deserves respect, even as it leaves fans curious about what he's doing and how he's living. Where is John T today? Why has he chosen a private life? Share your thoughts with us in the comments section. Remember to like, share, and subscribe for more. Also, click the next video showing on your screen. You will enjoy it.